So, Happy New Year. This is a new one for us, Rod, because A, we're recording on a Friday.
Hmm.
B, we're recording in daylight.
Is it even a Friday? It is a Friday.
It
I've
is a
completely
Friday.
lost track. I thought it was a Thursday, and I've had a dentist appointment this morning. I should have known what day of the week it was. Um, yeah, it's been quite a busy Christmas period for us both, hasn't it? And
It's been
Mark as
it's
well. But
it's
yeah,
been
yeah.
busy. And to be honest, if my voice goes at any point during this, it's a strong possibility because I've had the worst case of man flu I've ever had in my life. I have
Hmm.
never felt so rough. I had my brother's wedding on the 19th. Um, Briefly going to mention the Munster game because I felt rough at the Munster game. And that's as far as we're going to go with the Munster game, if I'm being honest, gang. Um, I was in work on the Monday. By the Tuesday, I wanted to die. Boxing Day, my brother was like, "Are you up for a little punt for this to go down to Park Scarlet?" And normally I'd be like, "Oh, go on then." I say I'm not going to, but I will. Couldn't even get off the sofa. I had my brand new pajamas on, my granny pajamas, as John has decided to call them, and I just couldn't do it. And I'm just about feeling relatively normal. Got a bit of
Hmm.
snot hanging around still and a bit of a cough, and my voice just randomly decides to go. But you
Well,
were away,
I
weren't
was up
you?
the north of England for the Christmas period. I was up in Cumbria, and it's the first ever Christmas that I've spent, away from my immediate family.
Not nice, is
Um,
it?
well, it was nice enough. It took a bit of getting used to, and it was an experience, but it was a lot of socializing, and then a lot of driving back and forth to, the old north, as we call it in Wales, up to Cumbria. So yeah, it's been a intense but really good Christmas period for me. But me and Amy have both decided now to go on a health kick in January and quit the booze and work out a bit more. I'm not really one for New Year's resolutions, but bucking the trend this year. So yeah, going on a health kick. So no beer in
No,
January and see if I can carry it on through. So I'm going to have to get my Bovril now for game days because they're not
we're
serving it
not
at the
doing
stadium, and
resolutions.
I can't have my pint of Guinness. So I've got to sort myself out.
Not doing resolutions, but we'll get on to that later on in the pod.
Okay.
So we'll wind back to Boxing Day. You were, Jon Snow in it up north. I was basically a pig in a blanket on my sofa. And I have to tell you this because it is quite funny. I could tell I was bad just before Christmas because we were in Tesco's and Tesco's had a Westie stuffed toy, spitting image of my Tinkerbell. I started crying in the middle of Tesco's and hugging this toy. My mother was like, "It's £4.50 with the Tesco's Club card. I'm going to have to buy you that." And I'm there going, "Yeah." And I'm walking around Tesco's like 2 days before Christmas with this cuddly toy in my arms. And to be honest, I love it. It's soft, it's fluffy, it reminds me of my dog. And so I spent Boxing Day wrapped in a blanket with Lottie under one arm and the Tink cuddly toy under the other one. Um, didn't I kind of watched Cardiff Dragons, but briefly in and out of that. But then I kind of came to and rallied for the Scarlets game. And I was a little bit nervous. I'm not gonna lie. After that Munster performance, I was like, "Oh." Going down there. I didn't really know what would um the outcome would be. Oh, I wish I'd been well enough to go. Oh, I
Mm,
really do. Um,
yeah.
a lot of
Same.
pressure in those first 20 minutes,
Hmm.
which we kind of seemed to soak in, and then that try, and it was like somebody had shoved a firework where they needed to shove it, and it was like pretty joyful.
Yeah.
Don't know if you watched it on telly, Rod, but you could proper hear the fans.
Mm,
The Ospreys fans were really, really singing. They were singing Carol Lamb, they were chanting. Loved
yeah.
at the end when the Turks were leaving early and they were singing Is There a Fire Drill,
Mm.
which really tickled me. Um,
Yeah,
but
I watched it from up there. I managed to pop it on the TV on Boxing Day and excused myself from the festivities for an hour and a half to lock myself in a dark room and watch it. And I did have the odd person popping in and out just to see what the score was and stuff. But
yeah,
yeah, I did manage to sit down and watch the whole thing. And I tweeted at the time actually that the crowd the Ospreys supporters, the travelling support that went down, they weren't huge in number, but God, they made a lot of
loud.
noise and made themselves heard, which was fantastic. But yeah, like I said, I was amongst Christmas celebrations, so my sort of analysis and my memory of the game may be 5-10% off. So t take this as it was, but it felt like a derby decided by it was sort of clarity versus chaos were the two sort of
Yeah,
defining things for me. The Ospreys weren't spectacular, and you saw that on the stats. Everybody's seen those now, 2 weeks
yeah.
on, and everything was in Scarlet's favour. Line out win percentage, scrum win percentage, line breaks, meters made, all of these key metrics that generally define who wins a game or not were in Scarlet's favour. So yeah, we weren't spectacular, but what we were was coherent. And this has been the
Gritty.
narrative from the past 2 or 3 months now. We've said words like coherent over and over again and consistent.
Yeah,
The Scarlets had their moments, but too often they looked like a side hoping that something would happen rather
but
than actually
it
making
just
it
didn't
happen.
click.
And yeah, it just wouldn't click for them. Those passes going out of hand, and there was a lot of forced. Uh,
Errors.
Forced things on errors, yeah, on the Scarlet side of things that did help us get into the game. But
Yeah,
where we won it was our defensive organisation,
amazing.
the back row again, and their control and their dominance in that game. And then just the game management from our key backs, your Jack Walshes and your
Yeah,
your Dan Edwardses. Their territory first thinking, their sensible exits, the sort of pressure rugby that made the Scarlets play from bad to worse, really. It forced them into
they.
corners.
If I was looking at that as a Scarlets fan, then there was lots of opportunities that were left on the table, very much
Yeah.
so for
Hmm.
them. Um, which off the back of last season, where they consistently improved, and they seemed like the season before that was a builder season,
Hmm.
they kind of seem to have taken a step back.
Yeah.
And it is gleeful when you win a derby. However, the thing that I think of most at the moment is I don't want them to win, don't get me wrong, if we're playing them, but I do want them to have a good show of themselves against us and everyone else, because everybody is kind of fighting for survival at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody except Cardiff is fighting for survival at the moment. We know there's going to be a team in the capital, but um, I think Peel has been in place for 5 years now, and there's a lot of pressure on him again, and a lot of talk
Mm.
around him not being up to it, and you know, fans calling for his head. Um, and was a good crowd there. As I say, that first 20 minutes, we seemed to soak it all up defensively.
Yeah.
If any of those had come off, I think it would have been a very different game after that first 20 minutes. But then, cracking. Harry Deeves is just a menace, and I mean that in the nicest
Hmm.
possible way. He just tracks that ball. It's as though someone has put an Apple AirTag on the ball and he's following it because it's been
He's like
stolen.
he's a ball-seeking missile, isn't he?
He
It, it,
is.
it
He's just
travels
like it's
around
like
and
he's
the
a heat-seeking missile,
auto course adjustment, and he just yeah.
and he's just got this sort of like laid back sort of like thing about him when he's like walking back to things. He's just a
Yeah.
little pocket rocket. I thought Owen Watkin defensively again, great to see him come back from injury. I thought he
Hmm.
was great. Um, And
And we
ultimately
get
that
on to
went,
him in the Cardiff game, but
yeah,
that Scarlets game was him just, getting back into it, warming up,
yeah,
and we really saw him come into his own against Cardiff. But
yeah,
yeah, whether Scarlett struggled for me, just to go back to sort of analysing them a bit, their decision making under pressure, particularly amongst the backs, they've got an all-star Welsh international back line there that
yeah,
we know can perform and we know can do miraculous things with the ball in attack. But their decision making in that game was just it was
poor.
just awful. There were too many half chances that were just butchered by rushing it through the back line, trying to get it out there faster than our rush defense, and it was just causing mistakes or predictable or poor support lines to be run.
Yeah,
They
it
also
was,
lacked the punch up front that we know them to lack, so that wasn't too much of a surprise. They did struggle to dent the gain line consistently, which meant their backs were receiving the ball standing still. So that was probably,
yeah,
part of the back's demise. We know as Ospreys fans how difficult it is to perform when you've got repeating set piece or retreating scrum. So maybe the backs aren't to blame there, and the more of the emphasis should be put on the forwards just not having any dominance. And
yeah,
then the third point for me that I've noted down was their discipline at key moments, which is a consistent thread with the Scarlets. Whether you've got Lousy on the pitch, whether you've got obviously he's gone now, but Fafita, and then the biggest culprit, Tame Plumtree. They just always
yeah.
seem to have discipline issues, and it's not exclusive to those three players. Those are just the easy targets, but every time they built momentum, they seem to find a way to hand it straight back to us
Hasn't
in that game.
Plumtree had a yellow card in the last three matches that he's played in?
I'm not. I've lost track.
I believe
He has,
so.
is he?
Yeah. It was a stat that someone mentioned the other day, and I was like, that should probably surprise me more than it does.
Yeah.
But sorry, if you can see ahead, it's the dog. She's pawing me. Because we've
She
got
wants a
treats on
biscuit.
my desk. She's got biscuits. I've got gravy buns on my desk and some galaxy
Hmm.
chocolate. But I do think we showed men's character and
Yeah.
a good defensive performance. You can see the work that Tips is doing
Oh,
with the
100%.
team and that it's paying off
Just
big
the
stuff.
organization in defense. Yeah, the line
Yeah,
speed was disciplined, spacing between the players is good. We were just forcing the Scarlets to go sideways.
yeah.
Um,
And we read
Tons of
their play
tackles.
really well.
Yeah,
We did read their play really well with some of the lines that they were trying to take. We shut that down defensively
yeah,
superbly. It's like we had that second thought and that second vision to do it. Importantly, got us off the bottom of the table, which
exactly.
is where we were. It
Yeah,
amazes me looking at how the tables changed over the last two games, how quickly it can change off the back of just
yes, yeah.
two bonus point wins. It's
Certainly
insane.
at this stage in the season and with how, yeah, tight it is in those bottom
Yeah,
eight, the top teams are sort of on 30 plus points at the moment, are they? Like maybe
yeah,
25 to 35 points, but the rest of us are down the bottom with somewhere in the region of,
yeah.
20 to 15 points. So yeah, it's changing game by game, isn't it? We went
It
from,
is.
yeah, bottom to 12th, and Dragons have gone from bottom this weekend now to 10th,
Yeah,
haven't they? So yeah, it's all over the place. Obviously, we played one more game. But yeah,
yeah.
it changes so fast, so fast. But no, this
I
game
was
wasn't
so
peak Ospreys,
happy.
was it? But it was
No,
controlled, it was
no.
streetwise, it was
And
professional.
that's the word I was looking for was professional.
Mm,
Um, it seemed to be we're here to do a job. Let's
yes,
get the job. Let's get the job done. Um,
exactly. Because
and
away on New
ultimately
Year's
that's
Day
what we
in
want.
Llanelli, it's no small feat, is it, to do
They're
that?
hostile. Their
Yeah.
crowd, like let's be frank, is one of the most hostile places that you can go. So to
Mhm.
go there, um, and I heard that all the players and their families, all the players' families were um, sat together,
Hmm.
and I have it on good authority that one of the Turks fans offered Kieran Hardy's dad out.
What?
Kieran Hardy's dad's built like a brick shit house and is a fucking lunatic. And he was like, yeah, come on then, let's go.
But he's also probably spent years and years down at Parker Scarlets as a supporter,
Yeah,
as a home supporter. So
yeah.
that's
She was like, yeah, let's go then. Let's rock and roll if you want to be a dick about it.
where's
Um,
Hardy from? Is he
I don't
is he a
know, but
I don't think he's a West Wales boy, is he?
no, but I just
Maybe he
thought,
is.
like, who does that?
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
literally, who does that? Um, and I did think it was really funny. Like some stuff on Twitter really, really amuses me, and then some stuff on Twitter, I just think, oh, leave me alone. Um, so a Turk fan that posted about two parents laughing and joking, giving a kid an Ospreys shirt and saying, you know, whatever you wake up to tomorrow morning, at least you're not waking up to this, right? My mate Gare right then did some really good AI after the game finished of an Ospreys fan eating a Turk stuffing sandwich
Yes. I was
outside
loving
the ground.
those. There was quite a
Did
few of
tickle
those
me.
out there.
Did tickle me. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll
Oh no,
get on.
Kieran Hardy, just to interject, he is a West Wales boy. He's from Ponteberem.
So yeah, you be becking on one of your own.
Yes, yes.
Um, and really, 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 really funny. It just absolutely tickled me. The other thing that tickled me in the run up to Christmas is my sister-in-law. Um, I don't know whether my brother was more excited about the fact that he got married on the 19th of December or the fact that they picked up a new puppy on the 21st from like very West Wales. And they called in to cross hands to get some puppy stuff on the way back. My sister-in-law was wearing an Osprey shirt, which is really, really funny because she's a blues fan. Um, and unbeknownst to the people in Crosshand Lately, they decided to speak to each other in Welsh and say she should be ashamed of herself walking around Crosshand Lately with that shirt, or Crosshands B&M with that shirt on. My sister-in-law's fluent in Welsh. She gave it back to him. Like this is the kind of thing that you like you deal with. And I just think, oh, get a grip. It is a game at the end of the day. That's what we've got to remind ourselves. So when you can have the banter and everything else, when it starts to get a bit personal, you're just on the wrong track. But certainly cheered up my Boxing Day, no end. Um, certainly made me laugh, but I'm keeping my powder dry with some things because we've got a new feature coming up later. Um, then obviously marching into our New Year's Day derby against Cardiff. Um, Lots of talk online with heat maps and things being sold out. Great to see such a bumper crowd there yesterday. Um, I spent time with you on the terrace. You're on mute.
Sorry. I asked, do we know the final number? Attendance numbers.
Do not know the final number. However, Lance did have a little troll on Twitter, and some people bet quite heavily to that.
I saw his 12,500 tweet.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
tickled um tickled me. Absolutely tickled me, that did.
Yeah. But it
It
certainly
was
felt like a
like,
sellout, didn't it? It was a bumper
I think it
crowd
was
there. I can't
8,000,
remember
something
seeing
like
it like
that.
that.
Um and it was great. So I spent some time over with you on the terrace. I was in
Hmm.
the marquee beforehand on OSC duty and selling some OSC wares in my new European shirt, which I love. Um, and there's actually been a challenge set for us, Rod, by Grant from Ospreys WRU podcast.
Okay.
In the marquee, there is the guy who sings there is trying to get it called the Road Your Tent because he likes country music. He sings country music, and in the corner of the tent, there's like it's not a bull. It's they've got a sheep a hold on sheep, rodeo sheep type
a
thing.
buck-in sheep.
Back in sheep. They got a back in sheep. Grant
That's
thinks
buck-in
it's
with a B, not an F.
back in with a B, yeah. Grant from Irie thinks it's really funny that he should pay for me to have a go on it to see how long I can stay on. So I turned round and said, I'm only doing that if you also have a go. And then I tweeted out to James Rees and the other Ospreys pod to say, let's have a pod off then on the
Mhm.
sheep, you know?
Each pod should nominate one person
Yeah. And
to
do
put in a
it
show.
like
Yeah.
Ospreys Supporters Club podcast pussied out. They said
That's all
no.
right. We can set the benchmark. Next home game now against Montpellier. We
I'm
can
not
set the
there.
benchmark, and if they feel up to challenging it and trying to take that mantle off us, then so be it. We welcome them to do so.
Or
The gauntlet is laid down.
or what we can do, because John is a weirdo, um, we watch Gone Fishing with Paul Whitehouse and Bob Mortimer. And apparently, better than taking your blood pressure is your grip strength, and it can tell you, you
What, as an
know,
indicator of
as an
health?
indicator of health, is your grip
Okay.
strength. This week, URC did a grip strength challenge.
Oh, did they?
I've actually got a grip strength thing turning up at the house because John decided to buy one like a week before Christmas.
I didn't see that. I saw the Dan Edwards versus Cam Winnett darts challenge thing.
Didn't
I
see
didn't see the
that,
grip strength one.
but the grip strength one, Casende and Dan Edwards, really good grip strength. So we could have a grip strength challenge. So we could have a
Mm,
leaderboard like on Top Gear or something.
yeah.
Could carry that
Okay.
around with me in my Yeti bag. But really lovely atmosphere there yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, bumped into Lance on the way in. I made it onto Lance's Twitter feed in my flares. Lance was tweeting, say, be there or wear flares. Now, you may not be aware, Lance, but flares are quite trendy at the minute for women. So I was wearing my flares
And
anyway.
men. My brother
And
was in a
then,
pair yesterday.
yeah, he's the best lock-in sibling. He's so cute. I
He's
just
not
love.
listening, Sam. He won't
I don't
listen. You
care.
don't have to butter him up when he's not
I
listening.
don't. I don't. I don't even care. Honestly, we hugged about 3 times. It was lash. I even said to him, if I was like 30 years younger, 25 years younger, I'd proper flirt. Like a
You said
real
that to the
flirt.
other one, though. You said that to my
I
middle
did say
brother when
that
you
to the
met
other
him.
one, but
So
there's
I think you're just full of lies, Sam.
well, either that or I'm just a flirt rod. Do you know what I mean?
Shall we
Um,
talk rugby?
yeah. So yesterday, um, we've decided that the Cardiff kit looks like Angel Delight
Mm,
as a
yeah,
cosplay.
we have.
Um, and I don't really know what else to say nice about the kit because it was a bit Pepto Bismol, wasn't it?
Mm,
I'm a fan of pink. I love pink, but that's not a good pink. It was
yeah,
pigs
the
and
Ospreys one
monkeys
is hot
pink.
pink, but it's a very
Yeah.
specific shade of sick off pink. Yeah,
Pepto
that at a
Bismol pink.
distance looks even worse. As it gets closer, it gets a bit better, but from far away,
It
it
wasn't
almost
great.
becomes skin tone, and it looks like they're all running around there
It
naked.
wasn't
But
great.
no,
Um, highlights of the match for me, apart from winning, Ryan Smith, I like you, you're Aggie. I
yeah,
like the
Ryan
fact that,
Smith. If we can sign him for another couple of seasons, he could be a firm fan favorite going forward, couldn't he?
absolutely.
Yeah, and he's certainly putting a shift in for this season, isn't he? Since he's been
Oh
signed,
yeah,
he's almost featured every game. I think he missed the first couple of the season just as
yeah,
he,
through injury.
got down with our line out calling and our moves and got integrated with the team. But since then, he's been absolutely flat out, and it's been
Yeah,
either him and Fender or him and Davis basically on rotation. So he's put a hell of a shift in for us, isn't he?
yeah, absolutely. Outstanding. I think for 70 minutes we were it was a complete performance. One
Yeah,
to 15 on the field really
dominating.
was a
Yeah.
complete performance. I think when Hardy had to come off in those last 10 minutes, then that's when things changed, which is not surprising. I think, I'm probably going to get hate for this, but I do think the scoreline flatters Cardiff, because they couldn't even catch a cold at one
Yeah.
point. On the side that when I went over to the other side for the beginning of the second half, it sounds bad and it sounds petty. They water boy threw them a water bottle and not one of them caught the water bottle. It was just like, is this the game that you're having? Um, that try from Keelan, that first try,
Yeah. It was
just
fantastic, wasn't it? Stepping off the left foot twice in a row to just
yeah,
send two of the Cardiff players, scrambling and backpedaling to try and catch him was
could not
fantastic.
get near him.
He did not run a direct line. He took the long way round, but still they
Yeah,
didn't lay a finger on him. That's what we love Keelan for, isn't it? We know he's got pace, though he's not the fastest, but we know he's got pace. But what really sets him apart is his ability in the tight to just avoid fingers being laid on him. He just
yeah,
dances around people, and it is wonderful to watch. And he's doing that most weeks now
an
as we're
amazing
tending
centre
to
of
score
gravity.
more tries. Yeah.
Amazing centre. We both turned and said the same thing to each other, didn't we? Which is, I bet his dad's going fucking nuts. Because, like, we often see Gilo beforehand and stuff, and he loves to wind me up because I believe him when he tells me shit. I'm an idiot. He tells me stuff, and I'm like, I believe him. He could sell sand to the Arabs, like, and I'd be there. Um, and then that, was followed with two lovely tries by Kieran.
Yeah.
Lush
One
to see
diving
Sam
over the
Parry
top.
going over.
Yeah.
And then Iestyn Hopkins. And I think, you know, by the time Josh Adams went over for his try in the 73rd minute, I think if we had not done the rotation with the bench or needed to do the rotation with the bench, they wouldn't have come in and scored those last minute tries.
Yeah, I don't doubt
Not at
that.
all.
I think just our injuries showed at that point. At one point we had Keelan,
Yeah,
um, not packing down in the scrum, playing scrum half, didn't we? Which I can't remember him ever having to do before, so that was a bit extreme.
yeah,
Although I'm sure because they went into this game knowing that they were down to one scrum half, I'm sure they would have practiced some scenarios, so it wouldn't have been entirely out of their comfort zone, you'd hope. But there was a few other odd substitutions that had to be made as well. I'm sure at one point Sam Parry and Dewi Lake were on the pitch at the same time
yeah,
because Gavin Phillips had to go off for,
yeah,
I don't know, was it a blood sub or something like that?
yeah,
I haven't watched the game back, so I don't know the reason. So yeah, yeah, I certainly think their bench depth was a little bit better than ours, and that allowed them to get back into the game, which put the scoreboard into, probably looking favorably upon them. I think we dominated the game so much more than the scoreboard at the end suggested.
yeah,
Yeah, this game for me was one on edge and discipline, really. Not
yeah,
not flair, although there was moments of that, but it was just a really solid, again, professional performance. We looked like a side that sort of expected to win that, I say cautiously.
yeah.
We went out there and the boys played with full confidence that that
Oh,
would be the
absolutely.
ultimate outcome, whereas Cardiff looked like the ones hoping that momentum would sort of
Do
arrive
something
to them
for
by
them.
post, and
Their
they
their
would just be given
defence
to
was
them.
just,
Yeah,
oh, Cardiff's defence was pretty poor. Like, let's
yeah.
be frank. But Ospreys really dominated that contact area for me. I know we
And we
talked
said the
about,
same.
um,
We said the same about the Scarlets game, didn't we? It was just
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
defensive intensity and tips, footprint all over that defensive. Yeah, line
Our
speed.
worst,
The line speed was aggressive but controlled. Cardiff were
we
repeatedly
said
forced lateral again, like Scarlets.
there were points yesterday where we turned and looked at each other and we were like, yeah, that was good. That was lovely handling,
Yeah,
Deeves, again, menace in the best sense of the word.
yeah,
But I think he is a menace because the people playing around him allow him to be that menace. They
yeah,
give him the freedom to do that and to feel that. So I thought he was, really well supported when Morgan Morris came on, Sam Parry. I think for me, when he's in form at the minute, and when we can see a player's in form as a team and as a unit around that, we need to support it, and they do. That's what
yeah,
I'm loving about this team at the minute is that band of brothers feel of it.
yeah,
Um, there were a number of players who weren't playing in the marquee beforehand. Um, and I gave them like OSC badges, took a picture of them and stuff. It was a bit cheeky to Ian Cornelius. I'm sorry, Ian. Um, with taking the piss out of you when you dropped your badge. Um, but the for me, it was nice to see them so very much relaxed in that environment. You could clearly see that they were friends and that it was lovely. And I think that is playing out on the field as well. I think with all the noise and the chatter that's going on with the way that perhaps the commentary and Prem and the BBC and stuff, everybody seems to want to point to us as being the ones at risk at the moment. That's a lot of chatter to drown out. Um, and I think for us to be able to put that performance in and drown that out, I'm really happy. I'm really
yeah.
pleased.
But the
Um,
Ospreys, we have been used to for basically our entire existence, dealing with that kind of negative story and those rumors and
yeah.
whatever new rumor is circulating in the press that week. We've dealt with that for tw 20 years now.
Why
The
11 for like
boys from this
5 years?
region are used to playing as underdogs and exceeding expectations and sort of using that as motivation rather than letting it get you down. So, you look at a team like the Dragons where that repeated beatdown just seems to get on top of them and they get into a losing mentality and it's hard to break that because we all know that losing, like winning, is a habit that needs to be broken, and the more you do it, the harder it is to break. But we've always
Yeah,
used that as fuel, and we've always managed to control that
rise.
narrative and make it fit our agenda and make it work for us. And we're doing the same at the moment. We're under threat. We might not exist in whenever, at WRU kicking things down the road again now in 2026. We'll get on to that. But we're putting in some of our best performances this season despite that. So it's mega impressive from the boys, from the
I
coaching staff, from the fans to just knuckle
just
down
keep
and
going.
crack on with it. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
keep going.
yeah,
Talking points for me. I had I got Prem on my phone. So when Liam Belcher tip tackled Reese, I'm really surprised that that was a straight yellow. Looking back at it, they said that it was a low degree of danger. I kind of disagree having a look at it because I've seen other players who've been red carded for a lot less
yeah. You'd expect
and gone
that
away with it.
to be off-field review. And if that
Yeah,
was the case, it was probably a 50-50 call on whether it got upgraded to a red or not. I'm sure if he gave
yeah,
that off-field review remark, it could well have gone that way. But the fact that he just gave a straight yellow,
yeah.
but the ref in the game was really averse to go into the pocket, and it's probably that
Pocket, yeah.
Derby Day
You don't want to
atmosphere where
ruin
you
it.
you don't want to ruin it. You don't want to be the referee that just allowed one side to win. So yeah, he was very reluctant. There was lots of pens in the 22 on the try line for both teams at periods in the game, and neither of us saw cards when probably we could have. So, but at least he was reffing it fairly. It wasn't unfair in how he
Yeah,
was reffing the game. It was consistent. It was just very loose in that sense. He was allowing a lot to go unregulated, unmanaged by him and his his reffing team. So,
It was,
you
I
can't
just thought it,
complain if it's consistent.
no. Was it a high standard of refereeing? Absolutely not. But it was
No.
shit to both sides. And I can live,
Yes.
as you're right, I can live with that. Did think it was really funny that the Cardiff fan in front of your brother decided to have a conversation with your brother about refs
I
when
know.
your brother's probably the least informed person there.
Yeah,
And
he
in the
basically
end,
comes to the one derby a year, basically, around this
and
time of the year, whether it's
yeah,
the
and
Boxing Day one
literally,
or the New Year's Day one.
I
And he
turned
was
to him and
chewing
went,
my brother's year off. He was talking about
in,
other games. He wasn't just talking
I
about the
told him to
ref
fuck
in this
off in
game in
the
front
end.
of us. Did you?
Yeah, I was like, mate, you don't even watch rugby normally, so do yourself a favour, fuck off. We're not interested, go away. My
Yeah,
brother was like looking at me, was like, I got your back, but it was fine.
that's
Um,
funny.
and but it was a really lovely atmosphere. I
Yeah,
just
that
think,
was one of the talking points for me. Was just
yeah, it
the brewery field atmosphere,
was
that
electric
energy,
yesterday.
the hostility. It was fantastic. There was lots of good chanting. There was even a group of Cardiff lads who had been so loud and obnoxious in a good way,
Yeah,
throughout the game, doing all their chanting. They'd come down and clearly rehearsed a few numbers. And they decided to leave 5 minutes early when they realized
really,
that the game was basically
it was gone.
done and dusted. So we all cheered them off, didn't we? And we were saying, "Bye bye, lads, see you." And they were walking away
Um,
going like this.
it's the guy in front as well when they scored their second try in that last 10 minutes, and he was going, oh, they can't even be bothered to keep the scoreboard turned on. I said, I wouldn't worry about it, mate, you're still fucking losing. It's just like, what you on about the scoreboard for? Like you're still losing. um when I was on the opposite side, I did make my brother laugh because I just went like, Ben Thomas, where's Dan Edwards' pajamas? Pass it on. The woman next to me was crying. Then there was the chanting of "You're just a shit, Dan Edwards, shit, Dan Edwards." There was some really good chanting. Loved the "There's only one true regent walking along it." To
Yes.
um Winter Wonderland.
Hmm.
So I did really enjoy my time on the terrace. I will admit that next time I am going to bring a bag. I am going to have snacks. I will bring you a
Snacks,
flask of Bovril.
picnic mat, little
Yeah.
hamper.
Well, I was going to bring my Yeti bag and put cans and stuff in, and I had like snacks and stuff. And he was like, "You're going on a picnic with Rod and his family?" And I was like, no, I'm just taking snacks. And he went, you're the age now where you have a bag of snacks. I was like, you cheeky bastard. What
I'm
age
the
is
same way.
that?
I don't want to get caught anywhere without a
A
snack.
snack. Please, like, I need a snacky snack.
Hmm.
Um, I needed toilet paper. I needed hand sanitizer. I needed something. I did brave the toilets in the end, no, the brick ones.
Hmm.
Because I tried the Portaloos and everyone that I think people had sprinkler penises because they were just covered. So, men, if you're going to use the Portaloos, tidy up after yourselves and like be fair, you're adults. Um, but I do think that very complete performance yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make the excuse of injuries because of the bench. We didn't have a scrum half on the bench to injury. I'm not going to use that as an excuse because we still came away with a W in the column, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed with our forwards. I was really impressed with our backs. I was really impressed with our kicking game. Um, it just seemed to go right
Yeah.
yesterday. Um,
Hmm.
but let's talk Yestin Hopkins.
Hmm.
He was good. He was
He was
very good.
fantastic.
He
Yeah.
owned, he owned Brady yesterday.
He's just very technically sound, isn't he? I think he may in fact be, of all our wingers, all our back three players, maybe not back three counting Jack Walsh, but of all our wingers, he's probably one of the most technically minded. and the most diverse in his skill set. He can just do a little bit of everything really well, can't he?
Yeah,
Defensively, he's really good. He can finish tries beautifully. He can, he's got a good eye for positioning and receiving those crossfield kicks and stuff like that.
yeah,
So he's just he does a little bit of everything really well. Whereas I'd say your Cassendes, your Gileses, they have a bit more of a specialism. They're there to do like a
a job.
job. Yeah. So
He
and I
was
hope
just
that doesn't
solid.
confine Yestin to being, a sort of off the bench player to
Yeah,
cover the whole back three because he's perfectly capable of starting and finishing a game and playing a full 80 minutes and doing a really solid job out there. So yeah, I'm becoming more and more impressed by Yestin. The more we see of him and the more games he sort of strings together.
yeah, really, really.
Yeah,
I think that the Hardy Edwards pairing is really starting to work. Loving that pairing.
yeah,
Um, I'm really, really liking how they are midfield generals. They're really controlling things,
yeah,
showing a lot of composure, especially down at his age. Um,
totally.
and I just think we need to protect that pairing
Yeah,
as much
yeah.
as we possibly can. Um, you know,
Morgan
and
Morris.
Morgan Morris.
I thought
All
Morgan
right.
Morris was really good, and he's just showing in a couple of moments in each game now since he's come back what he's really good at, and that is breaking a line and getting the offload and putting somebody in space.
Yeah,
He's not a Moriarty, is he? He's not a Morse. He can break the line, but he's probably not in most instances gonna then put the gas on and finish that himself, but
just go.
his ability to just break the line, spot the options either side of him and put the ball in the right person's hands is awesome, and I think he's done it two or
It's
three
key.
times now over the last two games. He's such a good playmaker as an eight. He's not a destructive eight. We know that he can break a line, and I've always attributed that to his low center of gravity, which I think
Yeah.
is actually one of his strongest
Strengths. Yeah.
assets. If you're a little bit smaller than your opposite number and the rest of the pack, they're going to have a hard time getting low enough to put in a legal tackle on you. So he's just able
Yeah.
to get that extra two steps in post tackle, post contact, and feed the ball on and keep it alive. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a, it's nice to have this diversity again. Of you got your Moriarty, you got your Mawson, you got your Morris. Oh, three M's, just noticed that. And they all have very different, points of difference to the game, don't they? And we can now
Yeah.
deploy those in order to tackle whatever specific defense we're facing that day.
And I think with players like that, because they're not the razzle dazzle, sometimes the things that they do provide go underrated by people.
Yeah.
Because they haven't got that flash about them. But
Hmm.
you don't want a team of 15 flashes.
Yeah.
You need a mix of brilliance and just solid dependency. And there is nothing wrong with just being solidly dependable. As
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, you know, and just that ability to stifle Cardiff's attack and
Mm.
control that breakdown is phenomenal. I think Mark Jones summed it up when he said the lads wanted to make a statement yesterday, and they certainly went and made a statement. Because there'd been lots of talk about Cardiff are at the top end of the table and blah blah blah. But as we mentioned earlier on, that table can very easily change on the turn of a penny. And sometimes where you are at the start of the end of the first block, it doesn't necessarily indicate where you're gonna end. And I
Hmm.
think perhaps that second, third place that they reached off the back of the first block of games that they had was perhaps a little bit flattering for them. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I will agree they've been the best region so far. Cardiff have in this URC block, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be the best region at the end of the season,
No,
because it's not where you started, it's actually where you finish that's
of course, of
important.
course.
And
Yeah.
there's nothing for us to say now that we can't aim for that top. that top eight. There's nothing to say why we can't
Yeah.
be there. Um, you know, and Mark Jones said it was a real team effort yesterday.
Yes.
People put their hand up very firmly to say, we are here, pick us.
Yeah.
Um, and he said they were just clinical when it mattered. And sometimes it's that clinicalness that
Mhm.
wins you your game and gets you your points.
Something that's not clinical though, and does need addressing for me because it seems to have taken a bit of a backwards turn, a few backward steps this season, is Dewi Lake's throw-in.
Like,
And it is stinging us, and it will, if it's not sorted out, it will cause us to lose games because those are the fine margins. Parry obviously started the game, and his throw in was phenomenal. And in fact, he actually showed a bit more to his game yesterday than I've seen from him before, and was actually putting himself a bit more around the park as a carrying threat. He even had a couple of half line breaks, or at least dominant carries and bust throughs that I noticed, which isn't usually a huge part of what he does around the pitch. He is more of a set piece, technical type of hooker, isn't he? Then he went off for a blood injury,
injury.
and Derry came on, and instantly our line out success went down the pan, really. Couple going, well, a couple went not straight but weren't called out, luckily. But also there was an overthrow. It was just a lot more disjointed. And I know that's not what Dewi's in the team for, but it's a fundamental part of being a hooker that you've just got to have a
Got to be able to do
decent
it.
success rate at. You're talking 75, 80, 85% is what you want to be targeting. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know the stats, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dewi's down near a 60% this season so far. And it's such a shame because last season he seemed to be really
Really
improving
improving.
that aspect of his game and building upon it and getting better and better week on week. And it seems to have just taken a few backward steps now this season. And it
I
will sting us at points. So we're not often hypercritical on this podcast, but you
No,
saw the difference when Derry came on, and then when Sam Parry came back on after having his blood injury patched up, it just improved instantly again, and we had more parity in the game. We had more go forward. The effect of that trickled through the whole team. I just don't know if Derry Lake's carrying is enough
I
to make up for his loose starts this season. In fact, I'd even go as far as saying Sam Parry's my first choice hooker at the moment. I think Parry's a much more reliable option.
mm, I do get it. I do. Um, and it pains me to say this, but I think going to Gloucester is going to do him the world of good with his game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. And you
I
can't
do.
discount how all the stress of the WRU stuff is, particularly being in a leadership role
A
within
co-captain.
the Ospreys
Yeah.
and, of course, the Welsh squad, will have impacted him. And, you only need to be 5-10% off the ball mentally in a game for just things to start unraveling. So
It's such a mental
it could
thing,
be
isn't
that.
it? It's
Yeah.
such a mental thing. Um, but I do think, yes, it was a big fuck you to the WRU. I do.
Oh, hugely, hugely.
Um, they that display yesterday was a display of unity, commitment, community, and desire, and a reminder to everybody in Wales that we are the one true region and we are the most successful region.
Hmm.
Discount us at your peril.
Yeah.
Um, and long may that continue. I do think we gave the WRU and Cardiff a reality check yesterday that
Yeah.
perhaps you are not as good as you think you are. Um, their form so far, yeah, has propelled them to the top four. But is that a true reflection of where they are? I don't necessarily think so. I think, in their six wins. Yeah, in their six wins before, leading up to New Year's Day, not one of those was against anybody who was in the top half of the table. So you
Hmm.
could say that they've had I said earlier, they've had an easy first block. I'm not going to give them a kick in. Are they going to be tested in the upcoming weeks? Yeah, they are, because they've got the likes
Yeah,
of Ulster, Leinster looming. All
yeah,
right, Leinster are not doing too great, but you can't, again, you can't dispout,
no.
you can't spout that. You know
The
me, I'm
the
not.
only the only game looking at their fixtures that looks truly winnable is maybe the Benetton game. Ulster away is no easy feat with how they're playing this season. That would maybe typically be a game that they could also target, but I don't think
Yeah,
they've got it in the tank
not in
to
the
win
wheelhouse.
away in Ulster. So yeah, they may well be looking at a winless second half of the season
Yeah,
if they can't pull out a result against Benetton. So.
and
Yeah,
I'm,
we'll see how
you know
far they
me,
fall.
not really a stats person, but I think
Yeah.
the stats talked a lot yesterday with regards to the dominance that we had with Cardiff having to make 195 tackles um, to our 138. They've had to do a third more tackles than we've had to do. Um, Missed tackles, we were kind of on a par. But looking at the times in the game where we had the missed tackles, that last 10 minutes was where our missed tackle count rocketed.
Yeah.
So, I think from us now, we have to really look to build on this, doing the Christmas double derby's not for everyone, as we said about going out to France, innit? But
Yeah.
we've got a lot to build on this now.
Yeah. As
Um,
we go into
and
Europe.
yeah, we've got three
Yeah.
home games in a row. Um, we've got to build now. Um, but
Hmm. Yeah.
all in all, very happy start to the new year. As I said yesterday, Dragons beat the Turks. We beat Cardiff. Traitor started on BBC One.
Hmm.
Carlsberg did New Year's Day. That was yesterday.
Should we talk about Zebra then?
Yeah, go on.
Well, what is there to say? I set myself up then as if I was going to have
You sounded
something
like you'd
something
prepared for it. So
pithy
I was
to
like,
say,
crack
but
on.
well, I mean, it's a classic European banana skin, isn't it? Zebra away. Um,
100%.
it should be a winnable game for us. They don't win often. I know they've been an improving team over the last few years, and their win
Yeah.
rate at home is certainly better, much better than it is away. But yeah, they don't win that often, which makes them a dangerous team at home because we know that they put everything into those kinds of fixtures, particularly in a competition like Europe, where you've only got 4 games to prove yourself, so you've really got to target everyone. If certainly if you're 2 games in and near the bottom of the pool, they're going to be throwing everything at this, unless they've
Yeah.
decided that they're just concentrating on the URC. But I highly doubt that because they've got no
Yeah,
chance in
they
the
are.
URC. So for the Ospreys, for us, it's about backing up our recent form from the 2 Christmas derbies,
Yeah.
and implement that level of control and dominance that we've shown so far. And maybe, I guess, as a point of improvement, just being more ruthless with that because we left tries out there against
We did,
Cardiff,
yeah.
maybe 3 or 4 of them. In the first 20 minutes, we spent 15 minutes up in 22 and didn't come away with
And
the
came away with
tries. So
nothing.
so that there's definite improvements to our game, and it's probably turning that domination into just pure ruthlessness and making teams pay for any inch that they give us.
Yeah.
What do we know about Zebra? They're a high tempo team, so expect them to play fast, particularly in the first 20. They're quite good at running out and getting a couple of tries in that first quarter and then petering off. They're also offload heavy, so they'll look to stretch our
Yeah.
defense. So if we're employing the same defensive tact that we've shown in the last 2 games, it's going to be really important to really get up fast and rush that line and just stop them getting it out to the fringes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, they could have that emotional surge at home with the home crowd behind them and that early energy. So
Yeah.
it's not letting them get away from us at that
We've
stage.
just
And
got to
then
travel
targeting,
well.
yeah, 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 we do. And we can target their discipline, their ill discipline. I'm sure they'll try and tempt us into cheap penalties and broken field defending, but we do that quite well. So it's just staying
Yeah,
on top of those moments, and if they get a moment of belief, smashing them back down and
just bouncing
suppressing that
some
belief
stuff
in them.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, it's quite nice then that we go into 3 home games with um, Montpellier, the Lions, and Dragons. No Dragons fans. Dragons Lair lads. I'm so happy for you.
Hmm.
I'm so happy for you. You are not on the bottom of the URC table, but don't come to Brewery Field and ruin the party.
Yeah.
Don't do
Yeah.
it. We
I'm
don't want to
I'm I'm
ruin the
all for
party for
Dragon
you,
success
but not at
until it's
our
against us.
expense.
No.
Um, that leads us quite nicely in to news breaking out today that Wayno's off to Leicester or potentially
Yes.
off to Leicester.
Just before that, Sam, you let me know that
Leicester
you
scouts.
spotted Leicester scouts at the brewery field during the Cardiff game, hiding in the back of the cow shed
I
trying to
asked
go
them why they were there and they
unnoticed.
looked sheepish.
Yeah. So you didn't get anything out of them as to who they might be looking at, who they're keeping an eye
No,
on. I mean, we've
no.
probably got reasonable assumptions
Yeah,
about
I
that, haven't we?
I
I mean,
think they'd have
Hardy.
gone. Yeah, I
Hardy, Morse, Gar Thomas, I know is getting a lot of
yeah, Gad
interest from
Tom.
some of the English clubs, so it could be any of those boys. Could be Dan Eds.
Uh, I've heard a rumor that Dan Eds is just going to resign.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Mark Jones certainly dropped a strong
I
hint
had,
that that news would be coming in the new year. So
um,
keep your ears to the ground for that. So I don't
I
think it's Dan
believe
Eds, but
believe he was offered a contract with, I wanted to say Leicester, and he said no. Or was it Sarries? I don't
hmm,
pay much attention to the rumours, to be honest,
no,
until I
no. But
actually
just
know
so
that
people are
it's
aware,
signing. But
Leicester
they were
scouts
there yesterday.
are still snooping
And
around some of our players. But yeah, back to
I do
Wainwright,
feel
who
that if
has
you're
signed with
going,
them.
yeah, if you are going to scout, do not wear your Leicester Tiger hats. That's what gave you away.
Yeah.
Um, and you know me, I'm cheeky. I was just like, what are you doing here? Who are you looking at? And they kind of were like, "Ugh," and you could tell they were being shifty. So I knew
Yeah.
I had the money on. I knew I hit the money on the nose by what they were there for. Um, just because of catching them off guard. But that's all I
Hey,
got out of them.
maybe they had just put pen to paper with Wayno the day
And came,
before, and they just came to watch. Who knows? Who knows? Since they
yeah,
were in the region.
that could possibly be it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But yeah, Wayno signing for them, that is a
that
hammer blow
huge
for
loss,
the Dragons,
huge loss.
particularly considering from the reporting, the Dragons off matched the offer, the money, the value
That
put on the
yeah,
table by Leicester, and he's still decided to go because he clearly just wants to be in a winning environment. And I know they've won three in the
I
trot, and he's probably thinking,
um
bloody hell, why did I
I
sign
like this.
now?
I like
But
this.
you
Um,
cannot blame the lad for wanting to just be in a different
I
environment that actually gets wins.
A is winning and is B out of the fishbowl of that is Welsh rugby.
Yeah,
We know that, Nicky Smith has gone and had success there, albeit in a very different position, but he's enjoyed his
yeah,
time there. There are other Welsh players who've gone there and, you take it, you've got him, Revel and Cracknell now,
yes,
all at Leicester.
yeah.
That's
And
potentially going to do
beyond that,
Wales a
we could see
favour.
a forward pack playing for Wales in the autumn that doesn't have a
And
single Welsh
Talisman.
placed
Yeah,
forward with Dav Jenkins, the front row that you mentioned, Freddie Thomas. Then you could have a back row of Cracknell, Jack Morgan once he moves, and
yeah.
oh my God, yeah. I mean, this is it feels like
I
an exodus, doesn't it?
I literally do not, and I've said it on Twitter, and I messaged the Dragons Lair lads, and I've said we as Ospreys fan know exactly how you feel because we've lost Emi and Jack. It was gutting when we lost Nicky Smith. it's just gutting, and
Yeah.
nobody blames the players for this.
No.
We just blame the Welsh Rugby Union for putting them in
Yeah.
this position. Um,
He's given so
Gutted.
much, hasn't he? He's given
Yeah,
so much and he's got nothing back. So
he's a
you
Gwent lad through
cannot
and
blame
through.
him. And honestly, I think if I was to pick a Prem team for him to go to that would suit him the best,
It's
it would be
Tigers.
Leicester. I think he'll become twice the player for it. It's so suited to his style
My
of play.
my dream or my hope for these players, and it goes for Dewi, Jack, Aaron. My hope is that you go to the Prem, you get absolutely everything out of it that you need, that you desire, that you want, and that it makes you a better player to come back to Welsh
Yeah.
rugby.
Hmm.
Because you know these lads don't want to be out of Welsh rugby. They wouldn't be making this choice
No.
because all three of them are homebodies. Derry Jack, from what I've heard about Wayno, he's a Gwent lad through and through. These are not decisions that like these three players have made lightly because they're
No.
homebodies. They really, really are. Um, so gutted for you, Dragons Lair lads, really genuinely are. Um, let us know if you're coming down to Brewery Fields because we'd love to meet up with you all and have a beer and whatever. Rod's on a health kick. I don't drink
Mm.
anyway. So we can meet up and have a bovrel. I'll bring the snack.
A
Can I bring the
Bovril or
snack?
a Guinness 00.
Um, I really like inches and Thatchers 0%.
I'm not a
Really
cider
lovely.
drinker. I haven't got a
Um,
sweet tooth, so I find
they're
them too
not.
sickly.
They're not. Um, the recorder leg 0 is really sweet, but the inches and the Thatchers have got that tang to them that gives them that
Yeah.
sharpness rather than the sweetness. To,
Well,
to
it's basically just apple juice at that point, isn't
basically
it?
apple ties up a chip cheaper. If I'm
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Um, but yeah, absolutely gutted. But let us know because we'd love to get together with you. Um, and love to get together with you and have a meeting of the minds. Do you know what, lads? You could join in. You could take part in the back in sheep Bronco thing. You know, it could
Mm.
happen. But we put some feelers out and we asked you guys for your comments and thoughts. So, in the WhatsApp um, group that we've got, then some really good comments in there um, with regards to what happens next. So Geraint said, for Europe, are we going to rotate and go strong, keep the winning 15, protect key players? How many changes can we make before we weaken the side? Did the players who didn't feature over Christmas still, fit into our plans with regards to European start? You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
um,
I have picked a team, um,
have you?
and I have done a little bit of rotation, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily say more powered or lesser powered than what we put out over the Christmas period. Um, I favoured Garin Phillips in the front row rather than Steph Thomas because I thought he did a good job against the
yeah,
Scarlets. And as I said previously, I favoured Sam over Dewi for this away trip, and then Tom Botha as well.
yeah,
Then I've given Ryan Smith a bit of a break because he's
yeah,
played back-to-back games now for a number of weeks, if not months. So Fender and Davis in the second row, Moriarty back in, although I don't know whether he missed this weekend through injury or just being
injury
rested because he's
apparently. Not
injury,
sure
did you
what
say?
though. Yeah, not sure
Okay,
what
okay.
because somebody
S
was saying that they'd heard he's injured.
Okay, okay. So sub him out for Gwilym or do a bit of rotation there. But I've kept Morse and Harry Deeves in the start inside with Morgan Morris on the bench, just as a bit of a change. What I'm really conscious of there is I really don't want Morse to just become this impact player for the last 20. It's so
Yeah,
easy, and it was really tempting for this selection here now to put Morris in, knowing that he can do a good 60 minutes and create opportunities, and then just bring Morse on. But
as an
that's not
impact
using
player.
him to his best ability. So I do want to see him get more time, starting. So I've gone for Morse and Harry Dees, then stuck with a half-back pairing of Hardy and Edwards. And then I've switched Keith out for Cock and a Singer and then stuck with Owen Watkin because I think that's a combination we haven't actually seen
No,
yet, have we? And I think that could be quite complementary with, Cock and a Singer inside Watkin. And then I've kept the exact same back three as that went out this weekend because I reckon yes, and Hopkins deserves another start.
yeah,
I did see Dan Casende warming up yesterday, and he looked good, and but back to fitness. But I'd keep Yeston Hopkins in there. Yeah, yeah. So a few changes, but I wouldn't say powered down or powered up based on what we've seen so far. It's just a bit of rotation based on
yeah,
how many games some of the boys have put together week to week now and probably need a rest. So just a bit of, rotation on that front.
yeah. Works for me.
Will we
Um,
have a replacement scrum half this week? What's the nature of Lukey
I'm
Dye and
hoping so.
Rubens?
I think that it was just minor things. So I'm
Okay,
thinking they're hoping that they're back. So because that's where we need, like, if
yeah,
they're not going to be back for Zebra, then we need to be looking at an emergency something or other.
yeah.
Um, Other comments we've had, Andrew, my mate Andrew, great festive period for us. 10 points from 2 games. Couldn't ask for more than that. Really good platform going into second half of the season. Let's hope we get the support from our fans to keep them coming out to support the team.
Yeah.
So that's lush. Um, then Dave said fantastic support at the New Year's Derby yesterday. Great atmosphere too. Boys have really turned it around after a very poor Munster game. Hopefully, this will give them confidence going into the block of home games this month. Agreed. Agreed.
Mhm.
Um, so, lots of love for Ryan Smith. Um, Again, at one point he had 2 Cardiff players and but with one hand. If Ryan Smith was going to piss in concrete, then he could write his name. I love you, Ryan Smith. I love players who are a bit neg-like. It makes me, as somebody who's niggly myself, then
And to
I
be
love it.
fair, I enjoyed seeing that from Alex Mann again because that seems to be a growing
Yeah,
aspect of his game, doesn't it? Is
is
just winding people up, and I do
yeah.
like that in a flanker.
I don't mind. Oh, Osprey rugby. Um, loads of people now are saying they're very interested in this back in sheep Bronco. Grant said he's up for the challenge. Can't be as tough as the Singer Sevens assault course in Cap. Okay. Yeah, they pussying out the Ospreys rugby. Absolutely not. Too much alcohol in my system on a match day. It's because you're scared. Don't be scared. Um, but we did have some stuff on Twitter as well. So Gary Mason, hello Gary. Um, I can't think of Gary now without thinking of The Apprentice and Gary the Penguin Biscuits because my brother's also Gary, and it was like Gary the Penguin, do 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 do. If you've not
Christ,
seen
that's
it,
a
Rod, you
niche
have no
reference, Sam.
idea. People watch The Apprentice, Rod.
Who
Um,
watches The Apprentice anymore? I can't
me,
bloody stand that shriveled up ball bag. What's his face?
Alan Sugar.
Lord Sugar. Yeah.
Listen, the man is
I can't
loaded.
stand the man. Talk about a walking, talking ego.
Okay,
Sorry.
that went in a direction I was not expecting. Um, Gary Mason said, commanding performance by Hardy behind an aggressive, uncompromising pack and all-round defensive display kept Cardiff under their foot for the 70 minutes with a small blip in the first half. Team is building nicely for a big January. So that
Hmm.
was really, really lovely. Um,
Totally.
And then what else have we got? Um, Nettie's replied to Grant saying, "Stop going on about that little scratch." Obviously referring to an injury he had at Cardiff Arms Park. Grant, you may be a bit too old, mate. Not being, funny, but so those are the comments that we've kind of had. But
We've had more than that, Sam.
how,
We've had
I
one
must,
from some.
I can't see them then, unless
We
these
we
people have blocked me.
we've had one from Viking. It was a great advert for Welsh rugby. Plenty of tries, lots of internationals on show, and a big crowd. Great atmosphere in a good old-fashioned rugby club. It's a shame a few on here don't put their money where their mouth is and go and watch a
And
game
go,
or support players and Welsh rugby. Yeah, although we certainly saw a bumper crowd on the weekend, Thursday, yesterday. Um, so yeah, generally that applies, although it was a really good turnout. What else have we got? I'm having to do this
you have a
for you
lot,
now,
because
Sam.
I
I'm
can't
scrambling.
see. That's okay. I can't see them unless they've replied to you
Uh,
direct.
Rave Dedin, MBE, previously Dave Redden, MBE. Mr. Lance hinted at St. Helens announcement this or next week. What will that be? That's the first part of his question. Then point number two, what do you think the parking will be like when Parker Scarlet is turned into IKEA? So first things first, I missed that hint that Lance dropped, so I don't know what is coming in terms of
Um,
the St. Helens announcement. I mean, the only other thing, that hasn't come about yet is actual spades in the ground. So maybe it's something around that, hopefully.
yeah, I can't say what I know. Um, but there are really, really um positive vibes around St Helens and work starting, which is about as much as I can say. Um, with regards to IKEA and parking, might be a bit of a bugger down there because it's opposite Trostra. Um, I would like to say that I take my mother to Trostra shopping regularly because it's got all the shops she likes plus a hotel chocolate. And I've trained my mum to flick the V's at Parker Scarlett as she goes past. She does it now without me even telling her to do it. Um, it's only 20 minutes for me to get down there. So an IKEA down there would really, really service me well because I love IKEA. I love the candles and the plants. I'm always up for adding a new cactus to the collection.
Hmm. But if we know anything, if it was an IKEA car park, it would probably be hard to get into, impossible to find your
Phil
way back
Bennett
out,
car
and it'll
park.
probably be overpriced.
Overpriced.
20 quid an hour.
Yeah, yeah. Over
Yeah.
overpriced and delivered.
But there
Um,
will be nice little saucepans on the entrance and the exit. So,
oh,
yeah.
they could do you a deal on saucepans. Buy one saucepan, get the vark free. Um, I still think it's very, very, very irresponsible mind to Johnny Bark wedi brifo to leave him around the boiling saucepan. What were you thinking? Um, but that's kind of all the comments that we've had.
Yeah,
But
thanks for the
bringing up,
engagement, everyone.
we love it. I love it. And loads of people came up to speak to me yesterday. Liam, so nice to see you. I absolutely love that I impressed your 8-year-old sister with my stitch tattoo on my knee. Because she had stitch trousers on, and I said, "Oh, I got stitch tattoos under you." Really lovely. Took his whole family, and his little 8-year-old sister really, really loved coming. Um, so I love seeing that. I love seeing, youngsters coming and engaging. Loads of kids there yesterday. Really nice to see people bringing their family. But we got a new feature, and we Twitter
Yeah,
tosser of the week.
yeah.
So because we've missed 2 weeks, then Twitter tosser of the week is a close run thing after the Scarlets game. Um, Ospreys social media Twitter team. You're almost as good as Aldi. I'm loving your work.
They've upped their game,
Tumble
haven't they?
Tumble Scarlet
Yeah.
piped up 24 hours after the derby. an Ospreys Twitter account, official Twitter account, responded and said, "Are you okay? We've not heard from you since 7 p.m. yesterday." Banging, absolutely banging. Well done. But the Twitter tosser for that week is the person who decided to call me fat online, tell me something I don't know, like point out something else. I got glasses, wonky teeth, and curly hair. You could have picked on any of those, you know. As Shakespeare said, your wit is about as thick as a Tewkesbury mustard. If you're going to insult me online, can you like insult me using Shakespeare or something, something clever? Like at least do it. So that is the Twitter tosser of the week for the Scarlets game. Um,
Hmm.
Twitter tosser of the week for this week.
Had a couple, haven't we? I mean,
So tempting to give it to one in particular.
there's an infamous
Um,
Cardiff fan who has certainly seems to engage with our Twitter a lot, and I don't want to mention him by name because that's exactly what he
what do you
loves.
want?
And I don't even know if he listens at all. If you are listening, well, here's
If you are
two
listening, I don't
messages
run the
for you.
social media, so fuck off. Do one.
But
Because
honestly, like, what a sad little life. And that's all
boring.
I'll say.
You're
Yeah.
boring.
Boring. You're boring.
Quite frankly, you're boring. Um, and I have to say, I'm really sorry I didn't see you yesterday. You probably weren't allowed out of your mum's basement. But if you were allowed out of your mum's basement and I'd have seen you in real life, we'd have had a conversation and I can guarantee you would have probably made you cry, you dickhead. Um, but then again, you'd probably done a Raj Kutapali like on Big Bang and not been able to speak at the fact that a woman in real life was speaking to you. Um, I promised myself I wasn't going to be mean this year. 2nd of January, out the window already. But this week's Twitter tosser of the week is Reese, followed by some numbers. Mate, if you're going to have a Kanye style meltdown, at least do a Britney and shave your head as well. Do you really think it's acceptable to like call people retards online? Do you like grow up? And literally, he's like, oh, everybody's biting. People are biting because you are taking just abject joy of a region folding and people losing their jobs. Like his response yesterday was Cardiff were punching down was one of them, and the other one was enjoy it while you can because at least my region will be here next year. You hope you get crabs and it
Well, no,
itches
just don't get annoyed by it. Just bookmark that tweet and move on and
and come
remember
back.
it when the time
I
comes.
I literally just said you're having a Kanye like behave yourself,
Yeah.
absolutely behave yourself. But if anybody would like to nominate the Twitter tosser of the week moving forward, let us know. Like drop us in. All nominations will be um welcomed. And then at the end of the year, we'll have a Twitter tosser of the year. I think we know who's in like front runnings for that, and we. And I
Yeah.
think then we'll just get a like a statue made of that, like a hand sign, and just get it sent to them. Because there's ways and means of doing that kind of thing. But no rando this week. But you mentioned resolutions earlier on. No resolutions this year, young Rodri. We're having a to-do list.
I live off to-do lists,
I
so
love a
that's no
to-do
change
list.
for
I
me.
love a to-do list.
Yeah.
So your to-do, and I'm going to take it in 3 month increments this year. Um, because some stuff I can like get off my to-do list quite quickly. Some stuff is going to be more long running. So what's on your to-do list for January to March?
I literally wrote up one earlier on today, but the reason I rely on a to-do list is because my brain doesn't remember those things. So you're asking me to recount them now, and even though I wrote it earlier on today, I can't remember.
ADHD.
That's
Right, my
literally the
first
point
one
of the
is,
to-do list, is so that I
I
don't
know,
have to remember.
exactly. This is why I've got to have a diary. So you've said that you're gonna cut out alcohol,
Yeah. Start
you're
working
going
out
to
more.
work out more,
Yeah.
and you're gonna make that into a habit and embrace it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool beans. So we'll check in with you in 3 months' time to see how you're getting on. In the background, then I will. Do you know what? If I'm going to join you on the terrace more, I think I will get us Yeti cups engraved with our pod logo. You can have Bovril in yours, and I'll have something in mine. Don't know what, but and we can just
Amazing.
both be there with our little Yetis and be like, "Hey, look at us." Um, my to-do list is interesting. So I've got done one for the year in that number one, I'm going to lose 2 more stone and I'm going to have some horse riding lessons because I've always wanted to be able to ride a horse.
Nice.
Yeah. Number
That's a
two,
good idea.
always wanted to learn how to do pottery. Going to
Hmm.
sign up to a pottery throwing course.
Awesome.
Three, I'm going to have 2 new tattoos this year. One is going to be my hero, Miss Peggy, and the other one is screw the 100 episode thing. I'm going to have a feather on me.
Hmm.
I'm just going to do it. The pod has been a big part of my life. I love it, and I'm gonna do it. It's gonna
Nice.
happen. And number four, I'm starting a new podcast without you. Not rugby
Oh,
related.
really? It's the
Not
first I've heard of
rugby.
this.
Not rugby related. I'm
Oh,
gonna
this isn't the first I've
yeah.
heard of
I'm gonna
this.
do it with my little friend Karen, and we're gonna call it "What the fuck were you thinking?" And we are going to discuss random things that happen or have occurred, and we're going to be saying, what were these people thinking? What led them to this course of action? So that's in the planning stakes. So
Nice.
no resolutions for me this year, just to dos,
Just to-dos. Big to-dos.
big to dos.
Yeah.
And
Stick it on the fridge.
yeah,
Nice.
and we'll get it done. Now, Mark is missing again for no other reason than life is really busy for him at the moment with his mum still being in hospital. So we're sending Mark lots of our love and our support. We've always said family will come 100% first. Um, you know, but we didn't want to let like the derbies pass and these 10-point games pass without us jumping on. And it just so happened Rod was off today, I was off today, so we could jump on and do it. Um, as always, like, comment, share, subscribe. We absolutely, you know, love doing this. We love meeting up outside of this, we know each other's families and friends, and it's just lush. We're building a really lovely community, and we're just sticking on our lane and enjoying doing what we're doing. But that is us for this week. We are very much looking towards Zebra, and then the next 3 home games. Dragon's Lair lads, ring us. You know what to do. And to the 2 other Ospreys pods, we've got you in our sight. So we're gonna do something on this backing sheep, and we Rod.
Yeah,
That's
we are.
also on the to-do
It's going to
list.
happen.
It's gonna happen.
OFC have tweeted us whilst we've been on air and said that they want to see this happen. So we could definitely
100%.
rope the others in.
Shall we do it for charity? We'll donate money to Ospreys in the community, and we'll keep it going.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see me break a limb on a bucking shoot, like a bucking sheep, you know what to do. I think you're probably better on the sheep than I am because I am a bit like a weeble. I'll just bounce and go sideways. Let's end on that vision, is it? Of me coming off a bouncy thing going poing, taking Lance out like a bowling ball. But you know, have a good week. We'll look forward to the next game on the 11th. Very much enjoy where we are on the table at the moment. Can only go up from here. As
Yeah.
WRU said in 1996, things can only get better. Have a good week, everyone. Ymlaen y gwaith. Happy New
Ymlaen y
Year. May
gwylch.
your 2026 be everything and more that you hope for. And apart from Dave Redding, hope you get scabies. Not really, just something nasty. But Happy New Year, everyone, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Ta-ra.
Bye.